So we got a story here of a young man. It says this 30-year-old makes $114,000 a month in passive income, highlighting four businesses that you can start today for under $99. And this is it says his name is Charlie Chang. And I want to just point this out to you guys that he said that when my videos went viral, I registered for YouTube AdSense to further monetize my channel. That's when my passive income journey began. In 2021, I made $1.5 million in revenue. And this year, I've been grossing an average of $114,000 a month in passive income through my videos, online courses, and social media. And this is some of the stuff that I was talking to you guys about. $114,000 a month in passive income through videos, online courses, and social media, all from side hustles that he began for under $99. So, food for thought. Think about that. Links in the description. But I want to talk to you more about gold and the major benefits of owning physical gold, because I know that a lot of folks out there are concerned about the value of the US dollar and potential currency collapse, the introduction of digital or central bank digital currency through the Biden administration's push to in the Fed Reserve to shut down the dollar. And precious metals is always a topic of concern. Gold being one of them, silver, and whatever other precious metal you find value in that you think is going to hold and store your value best and serve you in time of need for bartering and getting the value back out of it. And I wanted to point this out because this is the major benefits of owning physical gold. And it says that in these certain or uncertain times, millions of people are looking for ways to protect their wealth against the possibility of a future recession. Makes sense. And more these people are looking to protect their wealth with gold. Gold has served as a safe haven asset and a hedge against inflation and financial turmoil for centuries. And it remains one of the first assets people flee to when times get tough. But with so many different gold investment options out there today, one of the pressing questions is how to invest in gold. And a gold IRA is one way to invest in physical gold coins or bars and allows you to roll over or transfer existing assets from a 401k, 403b, TSP, IRA, or similar retirement account tax free into your gold IRA so that you can use those assets to purchase and hold gold coins or bars. But not everyone wants to invest in gold through a gold IRA. And I would tend to believe that this is true. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just an article that I'm reading off the internet and sharing with you guys my opinions and my feelings about what they have to say. So, not everybody's interested in investing in gold through an IRA. A lot of folks are not interested in 401ks and other managed funds that aren't managed by you, particularly, especially those that are essentially digital and you don't have any physical, tangible goods to hold to say that they're yours. It's just a number on a ledger on a website that could go down at any time. And then what are you left with? So even though the gold in a gold IRA is securely stored in a bullion depository, not everyone trusts the ability of the depository to get them their gold when they want it. After all, possession is 9/10 of the law, and a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. The appeal of being able to actually hold your physical gold coins in your hand can't be overestimated. And we've already seen this. We've seen this before in instances in Canada where the internet went down and people weren't able to access their funds in their bank accounts through ATMs because there was no internet connection. We've seen it in other countries as banks shut down to prevent bank runs, as people are fearing the loss, the value loss of the money that they have in the bank. They just want to get it out. So this makes perfect sense. But it says that's why many people just want to buy gold coins that they can store themselves. But then the question becomes how to store your gold. Once you become the responsible party, you'll naturally want to think of how to protect your gold coins or bars from theft. You can store them at a bank safe deposit box, store them in a safe at home, or even just stick them in your sock drawer or under your mattress. Probably wouldn't do that, but it'd be a little lumpy. But each method of storage has its own risks and drawbacks. So, which one is best? And then it goes into the best ways to store gold. Ultimately, the best way to store gold is the way that makes you feel most comfortable. If the utility of having gold at home is more appealing than having your gold locked away at a bullion depository or a safe deposit box, then that might be the way to go. It's worth also mentioning one cautionary tale about safe deposit boxes. Last year, the FBI raided a company called U.S. Private Vaults, a safe deposit box storage facility in Beverly Hills, California. The government alleges that the company was engaged in a variety of crimes, including money laundering, distribution of controlled substances, wire fraud, and structuring. So, when the FBI raided the company and seized its safe deposit boxes, it claimed, now this is the FBI's claim, that it wasn't going to seize the contents of the boxes, contents being the gold that you had stored in this private vault, merely the assets of the company. It claimed that it needed to open the boxes to ascertain ownership of the contents of the boxes, but wasn't going to try to seize any assets that belonged to the deposit box holders, you and I. But the FBI changed its mind after the warrant was executed and has filed to try to seize the contents of the boxes themselves, even though the box owners were not being charged with any crimes. It's a it's as though the FBI assumed the U.S. private vault's customers are guilty of crimes merely by their association with the deposit box company. Now, this is like very, very important here because one, the FBI presented a story to get the warrant. Once they got the warrant, they changed their mind and they decided to seize the contents of the boxes. Also, folks that happen to trust in this particular private vault company, U.S. Private Vaults, thought that their assets were going to be protected and safe. Although, because of other suspicion around the company itself, it then put the box holders, the safety of the box holders, the customers at risk. Now, civil libertarians are very concerned with the government's handling of this case as it brings up significant Fourth Amendment issues. And anyone who rents a safe deposit box should be very concerned as well. I can't blame them. If you hold gold coins or bars in a safe deposit box, who's to say that the company whose safe deposit box you rent won't be next on the government's list of targets? If someone had apples use, or if some bad apples use their safe deposit box to engage in criminal activity, it could land innocent deposit box owners in hot water. Even if you finally come out victorious in the end and can once again access your assets, having them tied up in litigation for months or years defeats the purpose of secure storage and of having your physical gold readily available or accessible. Think about it. If this was your safety net, this is what you relied on, and you were in a time of need and had to call upon that and liquefy those assets, they would be tied up in litigation in some FBI's locked security facility, and you wouldn't have access to what you need, what you prepared yourself for to have, what you invested in as probably one of the safest means of stored value in history. Now, the case of U.S. private vaults also brings up an important reminder that diversification is essential. In other words, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And we spoke about that before. How many of U.S. private vaults customers had their entirety of their life savings in a safe deposit box? Damn good question. And how many of those people who had the entirety of their life savings in these safety deposit boxes needed to access them during this time? Now, after what we've seen throughout history and around the world, you would think that people would understand the importance of diversification and keeping their assets spread around numerous different locations. Yet, too many think it can happen to other people, but never to them until it happens to them. And that's why, as a good gold IRA can be, owning physical gold that you can touch and store at home can be just as beneficial. It's one more tool in the arsenal, one more aspect of diversification, and one more way to help protect your wealth. We talk about that diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And we speak about this most commonly when it comes to your income, but here we're talking about the savings. The fruits of your labor, basically, the money that you've made that you've been able to save and invest. But we want diversification across the board. But this dives deeper into what the big underlying problem here with this particular story is. If the government cannot say what you did wrong, then it shouldn't take your stuff. And we see here, this is Jenny Pearson's. Um, she said that it says here that she was never charged with a crime, but she almost lost the precious metals in her safety deposit box. And it says that sadly, Americans don't necessarily have the same rights when it comes to defending their property as they would have if it were a situation of proving innocence or guilt. Typically, innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But in Los Angeles, hundreds of people found themselves unexpectedly fighting for the valuables they stored at a security deposit box business. U.S. Private Vaults was located in the heart of Beverly Hills, and these people probably thought that their assets, their gold, their precious metals, everything in these boxes were safe. Sadly mistaken. And what many of those customers did not know is that the business was on the radar of federal law enforcement, which you probably not a question you're going to ask, but maybe now you will if you are looking to engage in business or get a safety deposit box or anything. These are probably going to become more commonplace questions to ask. Are you currently on the radar, under investigation, pending indictment by federal law enforcement? Probably a good question to ask. Now, the federal magistrate judge who gave the go-ahead for the raid only issued the warrant to seize the business's property. That property included only the nest that the boxes were held in, not the boxes nor the contents of those boxes. The FBI was given permission to open individual boxes, but only to determine who the property owner was and to inventory the items. In fact, many box renters had taped letters on top of their boxes with their contact information, giving the FBI no reason to go any further. This is just overstepping boundaries. This is throwing your weight around. This is doing whatever you want to do because you have the badge to do it. And then people like us have to fight to basically earn our rights back, earn our belongings back, and in this situation, possibly earn your life savings back. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before so many times, and it's never ending. It's never going to stop. And despite the government's promises that it wouldn't conduct a criminal search or seizure of the boxes themselves, it ignored the boundaries of the warrant. And it's like, what are you going to do if you were even there at the time and they were breaking into your safety deposit box that you would think that no one would ever have access to, maybe even besides the company that you hired, U.S. Private Vaults. What are you going to do? You're going to stand up to an FBI agent? Yeah, you'll find yourself in a federal penitentiary quick. So agents broke into every box, taking close notes of everything incriminating they found inside. Even if it was unrelated to the reason why they were doing what they were doing, if they found anything incriminating in there, now you're on the hook. Now you're on the hook. And that placed hundreds of individuals in the position of having to prove their innocence to keep their property. This included people like Joseph Ruiz, who used his box to store cash from a legal settlement that was meant to provide for his medical care. Jenny Pearson's, which was a woman we saw in the picture earlier, and her husband stored precious metals that they had purchased as retirement savings. The lawsuit uncovered that the FBI collected and cataloged deeply personal items like password lists, wills, personal notes, and even cremated remains. This is unreal. The lawsuit maintains that the search of the individual boxes violated the Fourth Amendment's protections against unreasonable searches and seizures and is asking the judge to order these records destroyed. On the other side of the country, a recent appeals court decision was also good news for property owners' rights in civil forfeiture cases. So maybe there will be some luck there and some success. But at the end of the day, the FBI lied about its intentions and planned to seize contents of private vaults, according to lawyers. Ultimately, the lure of civil forfeiture turned these federal cops into robbers. And this was from a lawyer from a firm representing people swept up in an overly broad government seizure. And for months, the FBI held onto our precious metals. So this is Jenny Pearson's again, the woman you saw in the image. For months, the FBI held onto our precious metals and treated me and my husband like criminals. If we had not fought back, we could have lost a significant part of our life savings forever. U.S. Private Vaults touted itself as a privacy-leaning service that allowed customers to access their boxes with iris scanners and didn't require an ID. These folks thought that everything that they had was safe, was protected, only to realize that they were going to be uh, overturned basically by the FBI, just throwing their weight around and doing whatever they wanted to do. With that being said, now I'm bringing up some something I want to show you guys. It basically is, how to store your gold and silver. I'm not promoted. I'm not sponsored by this company. I just pulled this up so you guys can see it. And, they have some suggestions here on how to safely store your gold and silver. Safe deposit box is listed. Private safe is listed. Depository vault storage, similar to the story we were just reading. Hidden places. They even mention hiding your gold underwater. So just some things to think about. But at the end of the day, you may be saying to yourself, well, that's all fine and good, but I don't even have any, I don't have any gold to store. I don't have any money to be in a position to even buy gold for this to be a problem of mine. And it's kind of one side that's good. Sure, this is not a problem for you, but on the other side, the fact that you're not in a situation, in a position to be able to invest and purchase some secure, some historically secure savings means and methods of fighting inflation is a problem. So, in addition to having diversification in your funds, in your savings, in your investments, in your retirement planning, we also need to have diversification in your income that would allow you the ability to increase your earning potential, make more money, be like the young man at the beginning of the video, 30 years old, making $114,000 a month through some simple, easy, fast side hustle opportunities that cost under $99 to start. And if you guys are interested in learning more, again, you know how to contact me. My information is in the description. And let's start making some money, because one, inflation is not going to go away. Two, I'm continuously getting more and more heads up and warnings and emails and messages about people being laid off, losing their jobs, reducing their hours, bonuses being cut. More and more reasons why it's going to be harder and harder for people to survive based on the traditional methods that they were used to and accustomed to just a few months ago. So if you don't want to find yourself in a situation where your back's up against a wall, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, behind the eight ball, now is the time to put a plan in motion and start your own small business. I'm not talking about, a big corporation. I'm just talking about setting up an LLC so you have the protections and the benefits awarded to you through some tax planning, as well as starting a side hustle, generating some passive income, and getting some additional money in your pocket, in your bank account on a regular basis, and growing from there. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Be safe. See you soon.